Holy saturated color palette, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman the Animated Series for the first time. But alas, my journey on the new Batman adventures has come to an end, and I am on my way to something bigger. But before I get to the League, I have to get to the crossovers. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow. A vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
That's right.
But
and Dragon...
I'm not done.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
But now, Batman's become part of a bigger universe, and the mission goes on as we enter the greater DCAU. Now I'm done.
Dragon, I'm terribly sorry. I'm so used to you ending it at that. That's my bad.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, greater DCEU is absolutely right, because tonight we are talking Static Shock with the Static Shock, Batman, Robin, and Joker crossover, The Big Leagues. And no, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not just all those characters getting together for a baseball game. How delightful would it be if it was, though, Dragon?
I've seen that episode, though, Tiki.
What do you mean?
It's so Brave and the Bold did that.
Oh, Brave and the Bold did that? Really?
They did the 100%. Like, it's literally like pretty much the Justice League going up against the Legion of Doom. And they're playing baseball, and like they're name dropping Frank Miller and Julius Schwartz, and it's awesome.
Okay, I need to see that episode. That sounds right up my alley.
It's the cold open for the episode, but yeah.
Okay. That sounds amazing.
It is.
All right. So yeah, season 2, episode 1, The Big Leagues. Dragon, I am actually pretty familiar with Static Shock. It's kind of funny. It's like the further we get away from the actual Batman show, the more familiar I actually am with these shows at large. Like, you know, Superman, I certainly never sat down and watched all of Superman the Animated Series in one chunk or anything, but I definitely did watch it here and there when it was on Cartoon Network. And then Static Shock, Dragon. Static Shock is like, actually, that's my big, sort of like Kids WB nostalgia. Like, I was not watching Kids WB too much at the time that the actual Batman the Animated Series was airing, but I was watching it for Pokemon at the time that Static Shock was airing. So, Dragon, you can imagine there was a little bit of crossover with me. You know, I'd go to Kids WB for Pokemon, but I'd stay for some of the other cool shows, like Static Shock. So I actually was, much like Superman, I'm sure I haven't seen every episode of Static Shock or anything, but, I would have considered myself a casual fan of Static Shock even before you and I met. So this is a series that I am definitely more well-versed in than Batman pre the animated Batcave or even Superman. So excited to dive into this, but Dragon, my overall thoughts on it, though, my one issue with this episode, it's a lot of fun. I definitely think it has the Static and Batman characters down. Like, I love how Static is kind of just like, just almost sort of pathetically trying to impress Batman the whole episode, almost in kind of like a puppy dog kind of way. Dragon, the only thing about this episode, and I'm really not sure what the powers that be could have done to have changed it around, but I really don't know if Batman works in the tone of this show with the saturated colors and the hip hop music and everything like that. Like, it's cool. It's, it is like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of style, Dragon. But with all that said, I think that the show definitely, with the Batman interacting with Static Shock of it all, this is as good as I was kind of expecting it to be, Dragon. This was definitely a lot of fun. So,
all right, yeah, we've covered a little bit of Static when we did Black History Heroes a while back, I believe. Yeah, you kind of covered some of your standouts.
Yeah.
All right, so let me give you a little background on this, like how exactly we get Batman kind of going into the Static Shock show. All right, so this is directed by the Static Crew, as you can probably imagine. So this is directed by Dave uh, uh, Killstick, if I'm saying that right. Dave Killstick. See, I'm familiar with all the Batman the Animated Series crew, but these guys live an anomaly. Anyway, so Dave Killstick and the writer on this was Len Uli. Now these two have actually worked on an episode that we've covered for Christmas in July. They did the Static Christmas episode, Frozen Out.
That episode is very memorable for sure.
Yeah, so the same crew.
Yeah.
This. All right, so studio. This is going to sound a little weird to you, guys, given how similar this is to kind of one of our favorite house studios. But so this was animated by Dong Woo.
Dong Woo.
Yes, so not Dong Yang, Dong Woo. Now, the big takeaway with Dong Woo is they did a lot.
I would like to think that Dong Woo is like the we're the hipper, more we're the more up and coming animation studio that's going to use the brighter, flashier colors.
Yeah. So Dong Woo, they had done. Of course, they pretty much kind of made their bones with Static Shock, but in doing that, they kind of were basically kind of Static onwards. So they did a little bit of the Zeta project, but they really did a lot of top-notch work with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Just to give you like two kind of prime Batman and Joker examples here, they did Flash and Substance, which features Batman, and they did. Which, by the way, I love Flash and Substance, an excellent Flash episode. He got so few episodes that were just kind of entirely Flash-centered. That one has Mark Hamill as the Trickster in it. That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
And the Joker episode of Justice League, Wild Cards. So, yeah, these guys do really good work. And that, seriously, Wild Cards is a tremendous-looking episode because it goes to Vegas, and it looks really nice. Mm-hmm. All right, so in terms of how we get this little crossover going, so to give you the Cliff Notes version of it, so DC imprints are a tricky business where DC they will kind of acquire like your Vertigos and your Milestones, and of course Milestone, the creator of Static. See, I'm indoctrinated to say Static Shock because of the show, but it's really just Static.
Right.
Anyway, so
that's a dilemma that we've gone through before with this show.
True, and I think it's kind of an inescapable one. I think even every fan of the show, they're going to have that sort of issue where it's Static Shock. No, it's Static. Regardless, so Milestone was the imprint that essentially they were their own company, kind of striking a little bit like the Image Comics of its day, so to speak, and did so well they kind of entered a deal with DC and essentially got. Had kind of like as an imprint, like anything Vertigo that comes out, anything Milestone that comes out after they've signed that deal, essentially means it's in the DC universe. It's a DC comic, and that's how we get characters like, I believe Swamp Thing was under the Vertigo banner, if I recall.
I think so. That sounds right.
I know there's a lot of Vertigo Swamp Thing stuff. I think he was like one that was created through that banner because it was an Alan Moore concept. And of course, you get Watchmen, you get all that other stuff. So it's very much you see how it goes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they did the first season of Static, right? Now again, that's still Kids WB and everything. It's still like a lot of the same crew, but that is not in the DC universe technically. The first season, if I recall, I don't think the Milestone deal happened around that first season. By the time second season rolls around, that's when the deal is absolutely done. If there's any doubt, it's just absolutely done at that point. So then they're like factoring, okay, well now we can have them coexist in the same universe. So obviously we have a whole DCAU. Why wouldn't we? This show's going great. People love the show. Let's have Static meet some of the other DC characters. But right now we got Batman, Superman. Let's make that happen. So that's why at the top of season 2 we we indoctrinate. We kind of do a baptism into the DCAU for Static with a little touch of Batman the Animated Series, and it's kind of funny because then we get Superman gets an episode crossover with Static, and then the Justice League, and then even Batman Beyond. So
oh wow.
It's kind of a fun pattern. If you look, every season of Static,
kind of like the Lilo and Stitch of Kids WB, where every series had a crossover with Lilo and Stitch.
Pretty much. A little fun fact: after this happened, the first episode of every season of Static thereon opened with a Batman episode.
Oh.
Because you have this, you have the next one, then you have Batman Beyond. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, let's just dive right into it, Dragon. So we start things off with it's a humble little farmer's market, Dragon. How nice, how quaint.
Yes. Oh, blintzes, how nice.
if only we had Ken Armand out there selling oranges.
Oh my God, yes.
Could you imagine?
Yes, that'd be amazing. No one's going to get that reference, but it'd be amazing.
No. But that one's just for us.
All right. So Ferret. So Ferret, one of the multiple bang babies in Dakota City. So the Ferret here, he's enjoying the farmers market as one is to do, as a man about town. So he's like blintzes. So he's basically stealing blintzes and just causing trouble. And this draws the ire of Static. And I love how he can smell Static. He smells ionized oxygen. Static. I gotta go downwind next time. So then we have a little chase scene between Static. Of course, as a kid, man, I still, even now, I still love seeing Static fly around on a little piece of foil.
Oh, awesome. I think it's a perfect, it's a perfect design for like a mode of transportation. It's great. It makes so much sense with his power.
Yeah, and I love it. It kind of graduated from like just the manhole cover he'd find. That's great. So, when Phil Lamar just doing it upright as Static, classic Static here. Of course, the really cool thing about Static, kind of in the DCAU, is he kind of functions sort of as we've kind of talked about, for ages with the Black History Heroes thing we did. Very much kind of a DC Spider-Man to an extent, and not just definitely. That, kind of the precursor to a Miles Morales we would do years later.
Yeah, very much so. But yeah, absolutely the Peter Parker as far as like just a street level kid who's a little in over his head but has a big heart.
Of course, and very quippy, and that's the fun thing about Lamar's performance, of course, is him playing. I love that he can play the deep voice Green Lantern, yet he can.
I know, it's great, man. That man's got range.
That he does. He's so awesome. And of course, Samurai Jack, and God knows how many others. So, whatever chase scene, where he was in pursuit, he was doing like a little breaker in pursuit of, in pursuit of a bogey coming in. So let's see. He basically lists off kind of like, well, so far, let's see, you've jacked, he's throwing produce at him and everything. So far, I got you for robbery, vandalism, excessive cruelty to produce. So before the episode ends, essentially, okay, we'll stash and get fair. We all go home. Something happens.
Yeah, a bunch of balloons show up, almost kind of It style.
I know, very It. Of course, very ironic, given that Tim Curry almost voiced this character.
Yes. Oh man, but it's great. We have these Joker balloons kind of flying up. Static's just like, what is that?
And they explode, kind of '89 style.
Like almost. throws Static right into the dumpster dragon. It's a powerful explosion.
Kind of the biggest running gag of Static constantly throwing the dumpsters.
Is it really? I didn't even know that was a running
gag.
It
happens a lot. I have to rewatch it to confirm it's truly a running gag, but he ends up in dumpsters a lot. at least in excess of maybe 5 times total off the top of my head. I don't know if there's more. I know there's at least 3 to 5.
All right.
Anyway, so the point being, in the midst of all this, is Static's kind of occupado at the moment. Ferret gets the hook. The hook.
I love that imagery too. By the way, I kind of geeked out a little when I saw it in relation to the Joker.
And he gets hooked down the manholes, and Ferret awakens in kind of this garage, kind of this warehouse garage. Because again, that's how you know it's a Batman crossing, because it's a warehouse.
Oh, of course, naturally.
It's kind of an assembly line garage sort of. Anyway, so Ferret, basically it's a garage, but really it's a warehouse. Let's be honest. Anyway, so Ferret comes to with some familiar bang babies that he's run with before. We have. Did you remember these guys fondly?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I've watched this show. I know them all.
Okay, because we got Shiv, we got Talon, we got Kangor. Kangor was the one I always got excited for because he was in like.
I like Kangor. He is my favorite of the 3.
Did you see Kangor at the top of the when you saw the opening of this episode? I skipped past. I've seen there are 2 openings of Static. There's the opening, and then there's the revamped version. Once we have Richie as Gear later.
No, I skipped the intro, but.
I can't remember if Kangor was in the. I think Kangor's in the second one because I think we just have Hot Streak at the top of this one. Anyway, the point being, Kangor, because of that, it was like, oh my god, we rarely ever see Kangor. So when we see him, it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, Hot Streak, Hot Shot. It's Hot Streak, jerk. Wonderful Danny Cooksey. Of course, for me, eternally Jack Spicer, but that's just me.
Right. So Joker enters. Let's not blame the Ferret for being a little disorientated.
Yes.
And Ferret's terrified, man.
Joker is so formal. Call me Uncle Jay. Everyone does.
Okay, now we have to bring up the design.
Yeah, so this okay, so how do you feel about this design?
I like it a lot, actually.
Good, good.
I mean, obviously compared to the new Batman Adventures, it's a big improvement.
Really.
I don't think it's quite as good as the original Batman the Animated Series design, but what I like about it is how it emphasizes the creep factor. It emphasizes like the big teeth. Like the teeth almost kind of makes him look like the Trollolo guy or something.
Yeah, so this design, if I want to say this is the correct shorthand for it. They nicknamed this design the Rebound Joker. So not the revamped Joker, but the Rebound Joker. Kind of the rebounding from the revamp. I know there's a lot of reason throwing at you. Just go with me on this. So essentially, this is the model of Joker we're going to have going through the rest of the DC.
Okay, cool. I'm down with it. I'm down with it.
And again, they tried to combine both versions of the Joker. Again, as you kind of snuffed out there as well. That's why he's basically dressed. He's dressed like the original Joker, but the color scheme of the revamp, and obviously we've given him eyes and we've given him lips. So the lips were the biggest problem.
Thank God.
And it's so funny because the lips were like an accident. That's how they got stuck with the lipless Joker, by the way, just because they anyway. So this is kind of the Joker we have going forward. So anyway, Joker's in here. Of course, he looks a lot better. Let's see. Also, I love that when he says, "Call me Uncle Jay." Everyone does. Little Mad Love reference. How Harley introduces herself. Little cutesy there. Also, a big thing. So Joker's in Dakota, and he's kind of putting together a new crew, and they kind of doing the whole the Uncle Walt thing and everything. And what's so cool about that is Joker's direction, his plots, with technically one exception, all of his plots going forward are very family focused, which is going to have a very creepy, very dark payoff, as you know.
For sure.
I kind of like that we're kind of starting that from this episode onward. That's kind of neat. Anyway, so let's see. So thanks to a cranky bat, my cadre of cronies got cast in the clink.
Great play from Hamill there, of course, as always.
Utterly. So he's adrift, not a friend. I was adrift, not a friend in the world, but Dakota. It's lousy with fun-loving young people.
And like Dragon, that right there, I love the idea that Joker is basically the evil version of like the Steve Buscemi, like, what do, fellow kids? You know, it's like all he wants to do is just hang out with like some hip youngsters, you know? Yeah. I love it. Anyways.
So basically, Joker thought he'd pop in to scare up some new recruits, and Ferret he turns Joker down out of fear, as again instinctually you want to do, but do you say it to the man's face? That's the real kind of deal breaker. So like Kangaroo's like, "Don't be stupid, man," and we have Shiv. I love Shiv being like he worships the Joker practically in the crew. We're in the big leagues.
I mean, I think out of all the characters, out of all the Static's Rogue Gallery, he is kind of the most like Joker just in his personality. So I think that makes sense.
Of course. So anyway, I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable. It'll be a shame to lose you and your power. Sense of smell, is it? And of course, he sprays him with the Joker gas and the old flower. Again, we can't do acid unless it's a really special circumstance or it's phantasm. So, anyway, it's Joker gas. He basically, causes, like the rictus grin on, a very kind of the grin, the laughing on Ferret there, and of course, it's very scary to see, especially with a guy like Ferret.
No, this is, I mean, it's not phantasm level of disturbing, but it's still up there as far as like creepy laughing gas moments go. Dragon.
I just love that he used this power against him. Like the sense of smell, I'm sure, has made that instantaneous,
right?
And everything.
Right.
So. And of course, like, what did you do to him? Oh, just seeing to it he leaves us on a happy note. Like, that's classic Joker right there. Yeah.
All right, so meanwhile, the boys are watching news footage of the farmer's market. Ken Armand is getting a medal for the best produce salesman of all time.
Presented by a very gorgeous woman, I'll have you know.
All right, no, I'm just kidding. But anyways, what's actually going on?
Okay, so Richie and Virgil, they're watching the news and basically kind of pondering, how the heck Ferret escaped, because he's not the craftiest of the Bang Babies. So and also wondering why balloons. And of course, Richie's kind of like chalking up as they're. I like how casual, like eating cereal and stuff. Just kind of sitting around, just kind of talking. And the news basically exposits there was, Ferret not only got away, but in other news, there was a hijacking of 2 big rig fire trucks, and that leads to the really great question: why would anyone steal a fire truck? Cut to a man crazy enough to do that.
Oh boy!
Circus like
driving the fire truck through the street recklessly.
Very circus-like.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And of course,
the
Joker.
Heat is on, gang. The heat is on. Oh, this guy kills me. I love how your boy has a great line. Only if you don't do what he says, man.
Yep. So of course they pull up, make Papa proud. Which again, we're gonna take these in a really dark direction. Down the line. Anyway, so seriously, I do like there's kind of a vaguely kind of Nolan-esque kind of element to this scheme where it's a bank robber. Hey, they're not gonna stop and try to prevent fire trucks and firemen from coming into a bank, so that's their in.
No, you're right. That is, it's a nice little clever ploy for sure.
Yep, and of course, hey, where's an old man saying, "Where's the fire?" Of course, again, the most appropriate of people to start off this con. I'm sure Joker in part thought about this and his recruitment. Right here, old man. Of course, it's hot streak throwing around fire and everything, as he tends to do. Dressed like a fireman, which is hilarious. All right, so he was melting the alarms and everything. Loud noises get on my nerves. Everything gets on your nerves. Hey, man, I've got issues. All right, let's see. So Talon. Oh, by the way, I could be misremembering. Isn't Danny Cooksey also the Stoop Kid?
I think so.
Pretty sure. Anyway,
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Random thought, folks. Sorry. Okay. So Talon's playing the role of Lookout. And Clock Static, which means they gotta get out of Dodge. Well, kiddies, no time to be greedy. Let's go. So we have a very clever again. The other clever reason for the fire trucks. Well, you're in Dakota. You might as well be prepared for the home team. And of course, the home team in terms of the heroic side of Static, which what is his downfall? It's water. Fire hoses. Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's great. It's kind of like a natural, worked in defense mechanism against Static with the water cannons, Dragon. It's great.
Exactly. So we're trying to short him out, so Static's really evading it, and then Joker throws this this flare gun fireworks thing, which kind of basically causes Static to crash, and allows him to get away, and
crashes right into the dumpster.
Yep. So anyway, so they leave one of the big rigs. So they get away with one fire truck, they leave the other one, and of course there's a big old clue and calling card, which is Ferret laughing his little head off, and a little note that says "Missing you, OG." That's for. God. All right, so then we have a familiar scene: a Joker gas victim in a hospital room at night.
Seems like it's almost missing someone, Dragon.
Yes. What is missing in this scene? Now, Static's asking a similar
question.
It's
the Danny DeVito Penguin. Hey, Danny DeVito Penguin. No, I'm just kidding. It's Batman.
Yes. Of course, there's the perfect cell line to what did this, not what. Who.
Oh yeah. Of course, classic Batman intro music, lightning strikes, and we get some Tim Drake action, Dragon. I love my Tim Drake.
What's great too about the lightning reveal? It's a nod to the opening of Batman the Animated Series, where of course we reveal.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it is.
The lightning totally. And the theme music. So that's So as Batman gets down the brass tacks and he's checking out the victim, Robin makes the introductions, being the more sociable of the two, and we have a new Robin.
How Robin is basically like Batman's liaison in this episode.
Yeah. So we have a new voice for Robin, and one that we both know technically.
Okay.
So it is not Matthew Valencia. He used to do the voice, but I believe it's I don't know if it was an age thing or what. But we have Eli Marienthal. Tell me you remember Eli Marienthal.
No, I don't.
Iron Giant, Hogarth Hughes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you should have just said Hogarth Hughes. There you go.
Well, I know. I was hoping you. Well, that's the. It's not.
No, I'm sorry, Dragon. I don't remember the name of his voice actor. I'm sorry, but that's cool. That's a cool casting connection.
Yeah, we met Hogarth Robin. That's cool.
Yeah.
He went from Superman to Batman. What do you know?
All right.
Anyway. Okay, so point being, Robin's making the introductions, liaison-esque, very, very much so. Static starstruck, as I think any of us would be. And of course, there's a fun
Can't
call.
believe I'm shaking hands with Robin, the boy wonder. Well, let's skip the boy wonder stuff, can we? I'm getting kind of old for it.
And again, this is kind of building the track for Robin getting a little older, but also the next episode is kind of a payoff to this line. Now, of course, we're going to cover a movie that's going to throw a little bit of that into chaos, but let's not worry about that now. Anyway, so Robin, Robin's doing some detective work. Oh, Batman quizzing Robin the detective work to make him even better at what he does. It's really nice, like looking for clues. Robin spots on the shoes grease and metal shavings. Batman's asking, is it on the top or the bottom? It's on the top, which means he was dragged. Great, I love it. So Batman administers some anti-Joker toxin, and of course Static's asking, "What about this missing you note?" He's bored. He wants an opponent to measure up.
Yeah, and Static. This is where Static. I kind of like. What do you think of his whole arc this episode of like, hey man, I'm an opponent who he can measure up to, and it's like, no, you have no idea, dude. Like, I like that Static's out of his league for most of the episode. I think it's a good kind of growing experience for him.
And again,
especially because this is the first episode where he's, this is basically his introductory point into the wider DC universe.
Yeah, and if I recall, I mean, just given it's the top of season 2, and I think season 1 was pretty straightforward. This is the first time Static meets even outside of this our usual DC, kind of fare. He met some original kind of hero characters in his show, like Anasi the Spider, and God, there was like a Soul Power one. It was something like Soul Power. It's kind of anyway.
Yeah.
But so I don't think he's met any of those guys yet. So it's kind of like really putting them through his pace, like the first hero to really measure up to. Like, oh my God, it's Batman.
Yeah. It's a cool story point for sure.
Like Static has like a really great team up in mind that does not go at all the way he expects it to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like he's expecting.
That's
like
what I like about this episode. Honestly, it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah. Right. Like he wants a Mean Joe Green Coconut Smile moment. He doesn't really get it.
Absolutely. That's the perfect. Yeah, you nailed it right on the head there, Dragon. That's perfect.
And he doesn't get it until the very end. He's got to earn that Coke.
Right. Oh God.
You got to earn it, man.
Oh man.
All right, I think technically Batman has to have the Coke. Let's just go with that just for simplicity's sake. All right, so then we have this great. This is a great bit here. So we have this wonderful bit, always stuck with me, where Static's asking if he can help, and Batman's kind of casting him, probably not. Then he goes for the exit, and then is he always this friendly? Says Static, and of course Robin has the perfect response. Hey, you didn't say no. That line shows great progress on Batman post Old Wounds to me. Where it's like, he might have shut that down instantly, don't follow me. But no, he didn't say no. He's like,
it shows a lot of progress on Batman, but it also shows a lot of progress on how in sync him and Tim Drake are with each other as far as communication goes.
That's a good point, too, yeah. All right, so let's see. Batman and Robin are on Joker. They've been on Joker's trail. That's why they got here so fast. And the scene of Static takes them to the scene of Ferret's disappearance, which leads down the manhole cover in the sewers. This fun bit where like, do you mind? And of course, Static lifts up the manhole cover. For Thanks. Again, Batman's he's giving the kid props, which is nice. He's kind of patting him on the head, he's about to probably preparing to send him on his way, essentially. But he's
right.
Then we have a big old Spider-Man moment. Also a Miles Morales kind of Spider-Man too. Any Spider-Man you like. So he gets a call from Pops. Not just technically a call. He gets his beeper goes off. He doesn't have a phone. He's got a beeper.
That's great. That's classic.
Then Robin lends him the bat phone. She then calls. All right, so then we have the Spider moment of basically covering his whereabouts with Pops.
Yeah, Pops. I'm right under. I'm right at 34th and Main. Yeah, we're just walking around downtown, me and the boys.
All right, so anyway, so he basically has to go home, and I love a Batman just kind of
gathered that.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been that guy. Everyone having those loud conversations, and they're like trying to break down the same information. Like, yeah, I gathered that. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
So we gathered. Anyway, so we end up the sewer leads to the old industrial district, which goes on for miles, which means this is not the best lead. So they're gonna have to keep looking. So then he summons the Batwing. Here's a fun little story about this. So the crew, when they're working on this, they did not like the bat plane design, like many people in comparison. that we got in New Adventures. They much preferred the animated series version of it, which is the awesome giant flying saucer Batwing. That is just beyond cool, and we went with that despite, like, I know we should be in the other one, but the other one's cooler, so let's just do that in the episodes. That's why we have the classic Batwing, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I approve.
Yeah. All right, so they're going to look for a new lead in Static. Static wants to help, and says, well, how do I contact you? We'll call you. What if I find something? And he hands him the signal batarang, basically, but only if it's important. And nice to know, just want you to know, it was nice working with you. And then, of course, Batman's just no time for this. And Static's just lamenting, oh, how lame was that?
Working with you. How lame.
How wet behind the ears can I sound? Superheroes got to go home to daddy.
God. Oh, good stuff. That's honestly kind of some of my favorite stuff in the whole episode is like Static just like trying and failing to impress Batman.
So Talon, meanwhile, she kind of sees that Batman and Robin are in the neighborhood. She's kind of like flying around, just kind of looking at stuff. I know it's coincidental, but we need it. It's a plot point.
Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't bother me.
So Talon reports in at the garage with the gang as they're retrofitting this fire truck for the big kind of like stylistic reveal of it for Act 3. The Joker likes to personalize things. We kind of exposit that Ebon's in jail, hence the power vacuum, and how Joker was so easily able to work his way in.
I like that they were able to establish that. They didn't even really have to do that, so...
Yeah.
So that was nice.
So Kangor does not trust the Joker, obviously, for what he did the Ferret, and of course we have some of the Kangor and Hot Streak just kind of them really at each other's throats, like, I'm gonna boil some kangaroo meat. Shiv's breaking up because he doesn't want the boss to get mad, but it's the Joker, so that's
too late.
Just throws like a water jug out the window, glass window, and he's like tossing his number one boss mug. Fun fact: on his desk, he's got a little picture from Harley, little photo. To my pudding. All right.
So, he's just raging out about the fact that Batman and Robin are there, and they found him so quickly. Batman with his little bird boy. And I love the animation of him just kind of like lightly flapping his hands when he's talking about Robin.
A little like Nicholson in '89 when he's the birds. It's really funny.
Like a subtle animation gag, but I appreciated it.
Oh boy. All right, but now Joker realizes. Shiv suggests that, like, hey, let's hit him first. Let's Shiv, old boy. I think you're onto something. They don't know that we know that they're here. That gives us the element of surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I like the moral by this. Is important for a big payoff here. So they point out, it's 5 versus 3. What are we worried about? Oh, right. Yes, the drippy dry cell Static. So Joker's undoing this episode. And the moral is don't underestimate Static, especially in his own show. But just the point being, but don't underestimate Static. The everyman hero, the everyman hero can impress. That is the root kind of for both Batman and the Joker. They both learned this lesson.
Definitely.
Okay.
Right, so meanwhile, Richie and Static are on the streets, if you will, Dragon, and Richie's just kind of like, impressed that Static is hanging out with Batman at all, but Static's just like, well, it would have been cooler if I wasn't messing everything up.
So Richie offers his help in kind of trying to find a lead as well, but Static just by happenstance. And again, I think the idea is Talon's trying to draw Static out regardless. So it's like, okay, so
Talon's hanging around, man. She's got her ducks in a row. Don't take it as a plot hole that she's good at her job.
No. The earlier one, that's the earlier one's like a we don't care sort of thing because that just kind of helps her. This one actually is a plan. I'm going to fly around and get Static.
That's what I'm saying.
This one actually is the plan. So Static tails Talon, basically takes the bait, which leads to lead Batman and Robin into a trap, so they can get him for the
trap.
Yes. So Static, he tries to signal Batman and Robin with that awesome Batarang device from earlier, but because it's Static, being our Peter Parker of the show, he lost it.
This is not happening.
It's like the Polar Express thing is a hole in his pocket.
Oh yeah.
So this leads to Static improvising awesomely, I must say.
Dragon, I want this to be the thumbnail of the episode, if you can manage it. I love this electric bat signal. It's freaking awesome.
It's pretty cool. So of course Bruce and Tim, they're in like this. I assume
Bruce, Tim.
Ha!
I'm sorry. I'm just being silly, but that is kind of funny.
Anyway, so Bruce and Tim here, they're in the, like, I assume, like, the penthouse of a hotel. They're like, it's like,
yeah,
hey,
they've rented out a nice, they've rented out a nice swanky, 5-star suite or something. I imagine.
Yeah, it'd be weird to see Bruce in a bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Anyway, right now in the comics, he's kind of doing that, but yeah, it would be weird. All right, so I should be grateful he didn't use a loudspeaker. All right, so basically Static relays the whole tunnel lead, and he sheepishly admits, like, oh, Ben's like, where's the device I gave you? Why don't you use the device? The batteries, you're going to tell Batman the tech isn't working, really, Static, because he kind of stops himself right there, like, I kind of misplaced it. All right, so he tells him Static to stay guard, and of course, this summarizes Static's feels the whole episode. Oh, great, Static's big Batman adventure, waiting by the door.
Yeah.
So we have a cool sequence of Batman and Robin. They're entering the sewer.
I would like to think that Batman specifically told Static to stay there because he had a feeling it was an ambush, and he knew that Static would be able to save them if it was.
Well, remember, Batman is expecting him later, so I think you're absolutely right about that.
Right, exactly.
About time you showed up. So, it's like, yeah, this was a Batman's contingency for sure.
Like, if anything, Batman was kind of like walking into a trap to maybe, to maybe be like, all right, Static, you want to be a hero? Be a hero, Yeah,
I'm sure Batman's figuring, like, this is too fast and too easy of a leap. There's something going on here. Anyway, so Batman and Robin entered the tunnel, and, of course, classic flashlight stuff, really nice, in the darkness. And, of course, Batman is kind of detecting the signs of an ambush. Do you hear anything? No. My point exactly.
Yeah.
So we got an ambush. We had some fighty stuff going here.
What do you think of the hip hop music in a Batman fight, Dragon? I gotta know.
Well, I mean, you gotta remember, this is kind of a prototype for what we do in Batman Beyond. So it's not. It doesn't sound as good as it does in Batman Beyond. It's more like a techno future thing. So there's a difference clearly. But I'm saying is playing a different kind of brand of music versus the orchestral stuff. It's a thing to adapt to. I think it's cute. I don't
dislike it, but by the same point, after literally spending this whole podcast, years and years of this podcast doing episodes that were very much orchestral Batman fight sequences, this is it was definitely a shift in another direction for sure.
One could say it was a shock to the system. But yeah. I mean, particularly I like it. I think it's cute when they do, like, the Batman, the Joker themes in kind of a staticky kind of arrangement. But yeah, it's a static show, so it makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, so we got some fighty stuff. Hot Streak. He's melting the batarangs, which is really cool. They got, like, it's a really coordinated attack. Kangori causes this earthquake, and then Talon just kind of knocks him out some Joker gas. Well, not Joker gas. He kind of throws some knockout gas and, like, little Joker pellets.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to excuse my kids. They're so rambunctious lately.
And then meanwhile, we have an image that just absolutely cracked me up, Dragon. I love this image of Static just super bored playing tic-tac-toe with his electricity. that just, I don't know, for some reason, that just really tickled my funny bone.
Oh, it's great. I should have brought a crossword.
I should have brought a crossword puzzle or something. Like, that delivery mixed with the image, just, I don't know. I burst out loud. I burst laughing out loud at that. I was really amused by that. Should have brought a crossword puzzle or something.
All right, so the fire truck kind of barges out of the place, almost hits him, and he sees Batman and Robin chained to the back of it. So before he goes in pursuit to save their bacon, Kangor and Hot Streak essentially crumble the tunnel on top of them, temporarily trapping Static so they can get away.
Yeah.
So Static comes to, he calls Richie, tells him he needs a lead pronto because now Batman and Robin have been captured. Again, Static's ego has been mortally wounded, says Richie. Of course, the wonderful Jason Marsdale. Let's see. So Static wants to measure up, and of course, everything is not going at all how he hoped it would. So Richie figures very smartly, as he tends to do. And this is why we put him in a costume later, because we like Richie and we like him being smart and kind of helping save the day, even as the guy in the chair at this point. Richie figures that Batman and Robin have a comm system like they have with the shock boxes, which, makes sense, perfect sense. We know it's true. So, which means we can get a trace on him, which means we can find Joker's hideout. So we go to the Batwing, which is still idling in the sky, which I'll go with that. So, that's how they got there so fast. It makes sense.
Makes sense.
So, so then we have Static's wild ride in the Batwing. It's a lot of fun, and I'll admit, he really lucks out with the fact that the Batwing suddenly is now doing the Dark Knight Returns-esque kind of voice activation thing, which I'll give it a pass for the Dark Knight Returns of it all.
Yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah. All right, so of course you get the Star Trek idea from Richie. Which is a computer engage tracking.
Hey man, I've seen a lot of sci-fi movies. I know how this stuff works.
Yep. So like a computer, and of course I love Phil LaMarr doing like the buck soaking wet version of kind of stuff he does all the time on Futurama. It's like computer activate autopilot, find Batman and Robin. And then we have the wild ride getting there. So meanwhile, back to the action for our third act. So Joker has taken Batman's belt. Robin's, they're chained up in front of this fire truck that has been retrofitted to look like Joker's face on the front of it. It's like soldered to look like the Joker's face. And I gotta admit, with short notice, it's not bad.
Yeah. Okay, so we're hitting the baseball puns here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ooh, it looks like you've lost the home field advantage, Batboy. And I was smart enough to hire the All-Star team.
Yep, local all-star team. And then Batman's chatting up the Joker here, just trying to figure out what's going on. Why the camera Joker? And this is great. Preserving fond memories of your demise, Batso, for me and the kids to watch when this green hair's turned to gray. Of course, mainly Robin points out that, your batting average, no offense, no pun intended, it's not great success rate wise. I mean, you really think this is going to work? So, I have this brilliant Mark Hamill delivery. It's wonderfully wonderfully doesn't work, and I love it. He says, "Since we're all anxious to get this over with, let's get this over with." Just finding his thought of yeah, I don't have a really good out for this one. Let's get this over.
You know how I like my toys, Batman.
So basically, he's turned this fire truck into a fire truck of doom, or fire truck of death, if you will. It's prepared to launch these giant caltrope spike balls, and we demonstrate on a car. And if it's going to hit human flesh, our guys are goners, which is not good. So after we demonstrate, Joker, he's about to launch. You won't see that at the auto show. He's getting all excited. This is what I call it. Let's try for a twofer, or something like that. So then, last second, Static saves Batman and Robin from the next round, throwing it back at the Joker and company. And of course, just have this wonderful gag from Batman. It's this whole "What took you so long?" Great. All right, children, your Uncle Joker needs you.
God.
Then we have, again, kind of some more fight stuff going on here. Static versus Shiv, and kind of leads the conveyor belt jamming. So, Robin's going up against Town. I love that we call it how bad a line this is, because this really was dumb.
Kind
of a shame, Robin. We're birds of a feather after all. I can't tell you how many
times. That was a really bad line. I agree. And it is I was just wait, what are they? Are they trying to insinuate that these two had some sort of chemistry going on throughout the episode? What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't call it out, I'd really take away from. I don't even know if it fixes it really, but I mean,
I don't either, to tell you the truth. I kind of feel like it was just sort of oh, that isn't a great line. Yeah, let's just quickly add a line about it not being a great line in post.
Talon was never one of my favorite of the
I am with you.
I mean, they're a lot worse than her, but they're
like I said, to me it just seems very lazy. Just oh, you're a bird related. You're a bird-themed superhero, and I'm a bird-themed supervillain. Chemistry.
Yeah, you need like a Joker facepalm at some point.
Right.
That's it. All right, so Kangor and Hot Streak, they attack Batman. Batman awesomely takes him as he kicks Kangor before he makes the impact. Then he's like, you know me, I love this sort of thing. Batman's dodging fire blasts and the tire and everything. And what he does, one of my favorite moves, there was the Batarang and a fire extinguisher. I love when we use the fire extinguisher in the action.
Oh yeah.
Tosses it and basically puts out a Hot Streak, which is really cool. So Joker, so basically Joker's trying to run Batman over with the fire truck. And Static saves him, which is nice. Static can really prove useful in the fight to help Batman out here. Joker crashes into a wall and through the conveyor belt. So then, this is perfect. So Joker feigns needing Batman's help. Batman, help me, please! And of course he has the electrocuting joy buzzer at the ready to shock the crap out of Batman. And this is perfect. It's such a great idea. My favorite thing of the episode.
Yeah, it's great.
It's just this perfect comeuppance.
That was fun. Let me try.
The Static gives Joker a taste of his own medicine, shocks the crap out of him, and Batman it's the mean Joker and Coconut Smile moment.
Yeah. Nice work. Nice one.
This is not bad. Not bad. With a smile, though. It rarely does Batman's one. Not bad. And you see how happy Static is, and that's our act break. That's kind of our coda break. It's like, ding. He's just so happy. I love it. Batman, it's a genuine compliment for Batman, because he is so tired of Joker pulling that trick.
He is.
And he's so impressed. Not bad. Not bad, kid.
All right, so we get a little a rooftop scene. I like that it's at sunset, Dragon. I like the lighting here.
I think it's sunrise.
Sunrise. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. But still, the lighting's good. It's got some good golden hour lighting.
Also,
here.
Speaking of rooftop, Gordon and Bullock were taking the Joker away. It's a blink and you miss it moment.
I didn't even notice that. Nice.
Don't say anything, but they're there. But anyway, back to the rooftop. Go on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we're saying our goodbyes here. Not the most kind of heartfelt goodbyes, but you're saying goodbye. And Robin and Static have a nice moment there. Hey, listen, anytime you want to hang out, just let me know. Get really really cutesy. Static and Robin getting off on a good foot there. So of course Static says, well, Batman, I don't really know how to say it, but working with you was. It was a thrill working with you. And I think we can team up again sometime, just very earnestly. And Batman's again a little smirky. We'll see.
That's perfect.
And we have yes, just the happy-go-lucky. Yeah. It's cute.
Good stuff all around. All right, so Dragon, final thoughts. I don't think this is as good as the Superman crossovers, but honestly, the only reason I feel that way is just because I feel like the show itself doesn't really, stylistically, it's a little bit more of a leap to go to Batman, whereas, with Superman, I feel like it was a really easy leap to get there. But I mean, just for what this episode is, it's a very fun, like you said, it's kind of like Static Shock, kind of chasing the Mean Joe Green Coconut Smile moment with Batman the whole episode. And in that regard, I like it a lot. And, it also is the bringing out the redesign of Joker, really good there. I'm excited to see where that goes. So overall, not the most compelling crossover that we've seen, but still quite fun.
Yeah, I thought this was a great induction into the DCAU for Static. Through the old flagship, the old flagship property of Batman, of course, this being the very first of our animated shows. So it makes sense. We kind of build going through all the shows, starting with Batman. I gotta tell you, it's a reason I really have a fondness for this episode is that it's the closest I'll see in animation of a Batman Spider-Man crossover. It's the closest I'm ever going to get.
Right.
So on that level, I really enjoy it. But I love that just on the Batman side of things here. Static, shows Batman's growth. So I like that dynamic. I like how we keep coming back to it from time to time, and just showing that we kind of reflect Batman's stage in the DCAU with each time we check in with him with these crossovers.
Sure.
It's kind of nice to track his progress, in a nice way. And again, this episode, on the slide, accomplishes a couple of great things just for that progression. Again, with the whole Joker kind of with family on the brain, with the whole, he's kind of assembling teams of these young kids. And again, it's going to get really dangerous for certain members of the Bat family down the line. We got the revamp, the rebound look for the Joker. We got a lot going on, a lot nicely set up here. And again, we've introduced Static properly. Give him the whole, again, we're going to properly welcome, big old welcome party to the DC universe. So that's nice.
All right. So, Dragon, take us out.
Static in Gotham. Bang Baby misled. Teen Titans? Maybe. Can Static reach Nails before the Batman takes her down? Will Harley and Ivy have a new third for Girls' Night? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to the animated Batcave with Hard as Nails. Should have brought a crossword puzzle or something.